Hello, beautiful people. I hope that wherever you are in the world, that you are doing well and that you are taking care of yourselves. I'm Chris Danker, and this is Let the Adventure Begin. Let the Adventure Begin with Chris Danker podcast. So each week at the church that I'm a member of, our pastor who is leading the service will have a message in the newsletter. And this last week, Pastor John, he basically was like, man, I don't know, it's a heavy week. And basically he didn't have the words. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what is his message going to be like on Sunday? And then he absolutely crushed it. And when we're, a lot of us were feeling a lot of heaviness for many different reasons, and just the continued chaos in the overall world. And I kind of thought about maybe not doing the podcast this week. I was like, I don't know if I have it in me this week. But then I channeled my inner Pastor John and said, you know what? If he could come through in the clutch with such a brilliant and resonating message, then you know what? I'm going to give it a go as well. So this week, I just started thinking about something that I do almost every morning in my school parking lot. And for those of you who don't know, might be new to the podcast, if you're not, then you probably know what I'm about to say. I'm a middle school counselor, and every morning, or almost every morning in our school parking lot, I will take a selfie and I throw up the peace sign. And I don't do it just because I want to get a picture of myself. I really mainly do it because I also want to get a picture of the sunrise. And sometimes it is just, I shouldn't say sometimes, most of the time, it is just amazing. And the colors and the way the clouds dance. And if it's a cloudless sky, there's trees in the background. And it just reminds me of a lot of just, that basic idea of peace and love, and how we need to have more peace and love in our lives. But then the question becomes, how can we find that peace and love in those times that feel very, very dark, and almost hopeless? So I just want to share a couple of ideas. And I've talked about this before, and I will probably never, ever get tired of talking about this, but a lot of it has to do with gratitude. Not focusing on the big things to be grateful for, but the little things in our day, and making more of an effort to pinpoint and to feel those moments when they're happening, and then also being able to reflect upon them later. And so, case in point, I recently was, heading into the school after taking my selfie, and one of our teachers and her son were walking in the building quite a bit ahead of me. So I knew that they didn't see me. And they got inside the building, and her son just happened to turn, and he saw me, and he opened the door for me. And I just thought that it was so cool, because even if he could have turned and seen me and still just gone about his merry way. And that is such a tribute to, number one, awesome parenting that his parents have, obviously taught him to be aware of his surroundings and to do kind things for others. And it was just like, just maybe a little thing, yet it was something that I just really appreciated in that moment. Paying attention to, like I said, I'm in a middle school, and I really try to pay attention to things that kids do for each other. I saw recently again. A student was walking in the hallway, dropped something, pencil case, obviously pencils, everything that was in the pencil case just goes splattering out. And it's a busy, it's in between class periods, so it's busy. And the first two students behind him, rather than walking around him, stopped, bent down, helped him pick things up. And I'm like, man, that is what it's all about, showing that basic kindness to one another. And that's that essence of that peace and love, when we're doing things for others and noticing them in the moment. When we think about, just in our daily lives, what are the good inputs that we're bringing in, and then what are we putting out into the world? And we know that social media can be very uplifting, but it can also be just something that's maybe not worth being a part of. And it's hard to know at times which way to go. And so I think it's very important every once in a while to do a social media cleanse, meaning going in and looking at the posts of different, people that you follow, different, maybe organizations, businesses. Who are you following? Do they lift you up, or do they leave you kind of feeling like, ew, that didn't make me feel so good? And I'm not saying to not follow people and that have differences of opinion, because I think sometimes those differing opinions can be very helpful. Those can make us think as well. But when something really goes against our values and what we believe in, and are degrading to others, that's maybe when it's time to hit that unfollow button, or at the very least, restrict or mute, so that you can give yourself an opportunity to really think about, is that someone that you want to maintain contact with? And obviously it gets harder when it's maybe someone who has been a good friend over a long period of time, or a family member. And that's when it can get kind of tricky. But you can limit the amount of time that you spend on social media, number one, and to limit the amount of time that you spend around that person or those people as well. And it's also maybe important to kind of look at, hey, how much time am I spending on social media, and how do I feel when I log off? Again, if you don't feel uplifted, it's time to really kind of really take a look at its purpose in our lives. I do the same thing with the news. I very rarely watch the news, maybe some local news, definitely not the national news. And I have one app that I follow as a news source. I look mainly at headlines. Most of the time I don't go any deeper than that. And it's, again, very hard to discern what media outlets are, all media outlets have an angle. And it's very hard to find ones that are like right kind of down the middle, that don't lean one way or another in terms of beliefs. So it's just very important to be, to kind of protect your inner peace, I think is what I'm trying to say. So, I just wanted to give some food for thought. Like I said, it's been another kind of difficult week. And like I said, not only in the United States, but once again, in the world. But you know what? The world's been through trying times before, and we always persevere. We're resilient people. We persevere. We look out for each other. And this is not going to be any different. So when you have doubts, think about where there's peace and love in your life, and how you can spread it out to others. So that's what I have for you this week. I hope until next week, you let your adventure begin. Peace.